it off to you. Do you want to do a brief introduction and then just talk about who you are and what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to join this meeting. So, I work on the Microsoft Education Research Team, and I support uh, all research on Windows and devices in education. My name's Ava Herman, if I didn't mention that. And our team has a couple of research opportunities that we're working on right now. And the one that I wanted to discuss with folks on the call is it's focused on documentation, different documentation and support channels that IT administrators in education use to troubleshoot technical issues related to student, educator, and support staff devices. And the opportunity that I wanted to talk about today would, be pertaining to that area. And it's a diary style. Oh, nice. I have a little slide. That's so nice. It's a
Gotcha.
diary style study, which means it's a little bit more longitudinal in nature. And it would involve, if you were to participate in the study, you would be documenting your experience with documentation. It's kind of meta, but documenting, yes, your experience of troubleshooting on student, educator, and support staff devices. This would be a 30-day endeavor that you would go on. Wouldn't necessarily be writing some sort of entry every day in that 30-day period, but the idea of having that month-long period is to see, over time, within a month, what are the sort of issues on these devices that you troubleshoot, and how do you do that, and how is the process going, and how it can be improved. So that's like why we like to have this study take place over the course of a month. And I'm going to I wrote up a little write-up of this information so folks can reference it after I talk, but I'll kind of talk through it first. In terms of the logistics, so this study, the documentation diary study, would take place from starting October 5th until November 4th, so 30-day period. And let's see. Oh, there would be compensation. This is definitely a thorough endeavor, so we want to compensate folks for their time. So it'd be $100 reward for participating in the study, with the opportunity uh, if additional diary entries were submitted, that compensated for an additional $45 for that, for thorough entries. So let me think. Oh, and we are looking for IT administrators to participate in the study. I mentioned that, but for folks who service Windows devices, and specifically Windows 10, 11, or if anyone has an 11 SE device, that would be the profile that we're targeting. And I think that about covers all the logistics. I'll put my little paragraph in the chat so folks can reference that. There's also a link if this opportunity does interest you. There's a survey that we'll have you take. So you'll answer a couple questions. It will involve, oh, awesome. Thank you, Connor or Casey. I appreciate that. So you'll answer a few questions in the survey and submit a video. And then if you are selected, then we'll have additional communication, get you set up with that. So yeah, let me put that information in the chat, and then also I can put my email in here. So if anyone has any follow-up questions, you're happy to send me an email, Teams message, and can answer any questions offline.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Ava. So just as I guess a clarifying question, is this only for K-12 admins, or is this high ed as well?
Yeah, good question. We're primarily targeting K-12. We would be open to maybe one higher ed IT admin, but primarily focused on K-12. Yes.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, if you want to throw your contact info and anything that you've got in the chat for folks to reach out for questions. You can also reach out to us. So anyone on the Endpoint Office Hours team, we're happy to get those questions answered. And Ava, I mean, it sounds like this is really open to anyone. So if anyone on the call doesn't fit the profile, are they allowed to share this with others? If they know other K-12 sysadmins in the area, are they good to share that information out? And
yes, yeah, there's
awesome.
nothing tented or protected. My Teams is being a little slow. I'm working on putting that post in the chat. But yeah, that should be perfectly fine to share if folks know someone else who may be interested. Yes, it should be free to share that with anyone else.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so that's great. If anyone here kind of fits that profile and is committed to doing, this study or participating in the study from October 5th to November 4th, that's actually a really great time from my experience for sysadmins in education, because things are starting to calm down from back to school. So it's a great time. And it's even post-deployment, right, when devices are out in the field. So fantastic, Ava. Thank you so much for joining. I know you have to rush off. If Teams is being a little slow or something, if you want to send me anything afterwards, I can get this sent out to the group. Feel free to send me anything else, and we'll go from there. But thank you for joining us. We're excited about this, and we're excited about the results. See what comes out of it.
Sure. I could probably share that at least with you. So I appreciate that. And thank you everyone for the time. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ava.
Thanks.
All right. So the next topic that we just wanted to call out was the Windows 11 2022 update was released today. So we were kind of joking before the call started that there's a lot of links and we've got a lot of blogs that we need to go read now. So I threw these links in the chat already. Hopefully you're able to see these. But these should be active actually on your screen through the Teams meeting. But
yep, they are.
Awesome. So the first one's just that announcement blog from Panos, talking about some of the feature updates and some of the cool new stuff coming in the update. John Cable has a blog on how to get the Windows update. So just their Windows update for business and Windows update for consumer. There's a Microsoft 365 blog about, capitalizing on how Windows 11 2022 is designed for hybrid work, which is a really nice one. And then there's a security blog that's dedicated to the new improvements. Like I think there's a new feature called Smart App Control. I've actually got to dive into some of these features, but the security blog is going to detail all the highlights there from a security perspective. And then our good friend Harjeet has a new IT Pro blog out. That's what's in it for IT Pros. So this is highlighting all of the new tools, the RSAT tools that are coming out in conjunction with this release, and everything that you need to know from a group policy perspective and how to manage it. As far as I can tell, and Richard or Scott or someone else on the call, I don't know if y'all have seen anything. I haven't seen anything specific from like the MEM team or anything on those blogs about, a management. I think the only IT Pro ones are the security and the what's in it for IT Pros. Is that all y'all are aware of?
That's what I'm aware of right now. I haven't really had a whole lot of time to kind of dig in to see what's happening. I think over the next few days. I mean, this literally just came out today for everyone, at least it went
off the press.
So it's going to take some time for us, I think, to see what issues we come up with. But yeah, no, I think all of the stuff is good.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, if you're running it today, would love your feedback. If not, go install it. Should be good. And I think, Richard and I all have been talking about this too, just from a broad deployment perspective, right? October 5th, we're just a few weeks away from the anniversary of Windows 11, the initial release, right? And so with this second release, right, we tend to recommend broader deployment of Windows 11 around this time. And I love that we're in a fall release now, which gives education admins lots of time to, pilot this, test out your builds of images, test out autopilot, all of that stuff. You've got ample time before a spring or summer rollout. So again, I think the life cycle here now is 36 months, so lots of time to update and get this deployed out broadly. So if you haven't started looking at deploying Windows 11, now's a really good time to start looking at that.
Yeah, there's one thing to note, I think, in that IT Pro blogs. I'm going through it right now. The group policy templates, the admin template download isn't actually going to be available until September 23rd. So, if you're like really bleeding edge on one of this stuff right now and you're trying to upload like group policy templates, you're gonna have to hold off on that unless you want to go and grab them directly from like the policy definitions folder. Within the Windows installation itself, the actual downloadable templates and the settings reference spreadsheet won't be available for about 3 days.
Yeah, that's a great call out.
But yeah, no, this is all good stuff.
Awesome. So one quick question. I don't see that Akash has joined us just yet, so it looks like there's one question in the chat.
Actually, he was here. Oh, here it is. I see him.
Okay, good. Well, before he jumps on, there is a question from Mike on what is the best approach to install an app that is 15 gigs compressed. App has silent switches. Is the Win32 limit still 8 gigs?
Yeah, so the limit is 8 gigs. However, you can open up a support request within the Intune portal. And in that support request, you can ask for the application or the app size limit to be increased. And I think they'll do it for more than 20 gigs. I can't remember exactly if it was like 35 or 25 or something, but they'll extend that so that 15 gig app that you have should be available, or it should be able to be uploaded once you get that extended by support.
Yeah, I just threw in the chat just where you would submit that support ticket. If you don't have Premiere, you can submit that through there. Awesome. Okay, really quick, a few more just kind of broader mem updates that I wanted to call out. I mentioned that we didn't have anything related as a mem blog or anything, but I did want to highlight that already in my demo tenant, I see Windows 11 22H2 available under the Intune feature update profiles today. So if you're leveraging feature update rings for Windows Update for Business, I'm impressed that we already have Windows 11 22H2 here. Like this is awesome. Considering like coming from the days of SCCM Ray and having a new release of Windows 7, 8, 10, whatever the case may be, and then we would have to wait for an update through the ADK and then port that over, right, and integrate into the configuration manager console to be able to deploy Windows 11. Like, this is awesome to see. Day 0, we have support in feature updates for Windows 11. Like,
well, you know what's odd though? It's odd because like the item that you have right below it that says the day 0 support for iOS. Yeah. We've been saying we have day 0 support for Apple and Mac OS and iOS for a long time, and it's like it's taken us longer sometimes to get Windows in. So now we're at parity with our own stuff. With Apple, so it's
exactly
good to see.
Yeah, super cool. But yeah, that leads us into 0-day support. So obviously Apple last week, I believe, was the release of iOS 16, iPadOS 16. So if you have any of your devices in your environment that are managed through Intune, you should have 0-day support for that. I don't believe macOS Ventura has released yet. I think that comes out next month. Maybe someone can correct me on that, but we'll have 0-day support for that as well. So if you're managing those devices, you should be good. And then the last one is not really mem related, other than all of our technical documentation, Microsoft Docs. If you go to docs.microsoft.com, that's now all falling under the Learn umbrella. So you'll actually see that redirected to learn.microsoft.com, mixed in with all the learning content and everything. I think this is actually a really good move. It streamlines everything and creates a cohesive experience for learning. So just be aware that our docs are now part of Microsoft Learn. With that is believe Akash is here now.
There he is. I see him at the top. Akash, you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
There he is. All right. So I don't know, Gary, if you want to advance
Yep.
the slide. All right. So I don't know, Akash, do you want to just go ahead and start, introduce yourself to the group?
Yeah, for sure. Split my camera on real quick.
And I'm sure you'll probably want to present. Or
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
I'll
Akash,
present.
you are a presenter, right? Have you
Yeah,
been
yeah.
doing-
I can
Really?
start presenting, yeah, if you want to give it to me.
Yeah, I think I just gave you presenter rights, so you should be able to share out your screen or anything that you want to.
Okay, let me try that quick. I'll have my deck open.
And this call is being recorded.
Can you guys see my screen?
we see
Yes,
it.
sir.
Cool. Should I just get started?
Yeah, go for
Go
it.
for it.
Cool, yeah. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Akash Malhotra. I'm a product manager here for Windows Service and Delivery, and I own a product called Update Compliance. Some of you might have heard about it. And so I'll be kind of going through and talking about all the awesome stuff we've done in the couple of past years, and we basically revamped it and made a new reporting tool, which we went public preview with recently. So I'll be talking to you about how you can start leveraging our reporting tool and managing your patch compliance. And so feel free to type in the chat, make it interactive. If you have a question, let me know. I can answer offline later. And so just super informal, and we would love your feedback with the product once you start using it. So please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah. So yeah, I'll just give a quick background because I'm not sure. I know most of you are in the education industry, probably using mem reporting or maybe desktop analytics even, but I'll give a quick recap for what Update Compliance is. Update Compliance is an Azure Marketplace app, which you can download for free. You can use it with your Windows Pro, Enterprise, educational SKUs, and it basically monitors the update status for your Windows endpoints. So, it enables you to monitor security, quality, and feature updates. At a high level, this is the current UX that we have right now. This has been there for the past 5 years, and you can view the report of your devices and update issues related to compliance and devices that need attention. You can kind of see why they aren't taking updates. And so this is currently what we have right now. And right now, Update Compliance works with devices enrolled to Configuration Manager and Intune, as well as third-party update management solutions. And so key benefit of Update Compliance is that it does not require an agent running on the machines. It just requires a device sending telemetry and diagnostic data to Microsoft, which a lot of people find useful, right? And so just basic security and feature update reporting. We also have delivery optimization, and I'll get into each one of these later on. But delivery optimization helps check your bandwidth, your savings occurred across multiple content types, and it can be helpful to optimize your data throughput for downloaded content. And just before I dive deeper, to use Update Compliance, you need an Azure subscription, you need a login Linux workspace, and those are the main two kind of requirements you need to use Update Compliance. And so I'm not sure how many of you on this call have used this or not, but we've had this for over 5 years now, and we got a lot of feedback. And so we basically took this product, revamped it, and made it much better. And we went public preview a month ago. And so I'm going to be talking about how you can start leveraging our new reporting tool. Because I think, end of the year or next year, we are trying to deprecate this. And so we're trying to get customers to start moving towards this. And I'll be talking about the main pain points we've, experienced with the current reporting tool. And for those who are using mem reporting and other reporting tools, you might have experienced the same pain points, which we hope to solve in this revamped version. So yeah, there's some main pain points as team has heard. If I don't talk about any of the ones that you've heard, then please feel free to kind of, tell us in the comments and, reach out to me. But we are making a shift towards Azure AD. We want to build, an Azure friendly world to, have consistency with all Microsoft products. And so a few months ago, we announced that all devices to use Update Compliance must be Azure Active Directory joined or AD hybrid joined. We think this is the right direction when it comes to more consistency, better integration, and easier enrollment, because right now, Update Compliance uses a global device ID as the main device identifier, along with commercial ID. And none of those identifiers match with any other management tools like, Intune. And so, for example, for those using Config Manager, devices have some sort of SCCM ID, right? Or if you're co-managed with Intune, you have an AED device ID as well, right? And Intune has Intune ID and AED ID. And so that's all under the same AED tenant concept. And so it's really important that update compliance goes towards this paradigm and we keep the same consistency because we want, customers to use member reporting and update compliance as supplementary products. And so with the requirement of AED, you now have a primary identifier. And I'll give an example of why this is super useful. A lot of customers say that, they have their commercial ID, they're configuring devices, but sometimes the onboarding process is really bad. Not all devices get onboarded. Not all are visible in the product. Some drop and they don't know why. And so by keeping the same primary AED identifier, whether the count goes up or down, it's always going to match Azure AD. And so you can ensure consistency within all your onboard devices. And so I'll get into the experience of enrolling devices through AED, but you don't need to stamp devices, no need to run no scripts, no firewalls. If you have an Azure tenant ID and your AED device are AED, boom, you enroll your tenants, then you see data. It's pretty simple. So that's the big value prop. The second big value prop with the new update compliance is actionable data. This is something, we have been trying to tackle on the reporting side for a while now. And the feedback we got is that data is just not actionable enough. Even in the update compliance V1 reporting, we told you that there's a problem, but we heard that more guidance is needed on how to actually fix those issues. And so we tackled this problem by introducing this concept of alerts and recommendations. And I'll explain how the UX works later, but just want to put that out there that the idea is that we took a stab at providing data points and recommendation for alerts, which can help IT admins like yourself go and attempt a first level triage to kind of move away from those sediment devices that aren't updating. And so you'll have the ability to view active alerts, see resolved ones. You'll be able to leverage log analytics, which you can use as like a REST API to create your help desk tickets, alert monitoring, and you can go wild with that. You can create, call to action. You can integrate with your third-party solutions, and you can leverage alerts basically to solve those issues. And so I'll explain kind of how the reporting works in alerts. The third big value prop is a Windows update for business. Not sure, out of curiosity, how many have already using WolfB or Windows Update for Business. A lot of feedback. Yeah, we call it WolfB. Not sure how many of know what that is, but quickly, it's just it's our reporting from the cloud we used a couple years ago, where you can schedule your feature updates, quality updates, driver updates, and you can control where updates are offered. You can defer them, you can pause them, and it just simplifies your update management. And so we're trying to really get customers to start using WolfB. And the biggest pain point we heard is that I'm using WolfB, but where's my awesome reporting for it? And so this huge value prop we added is reporting for those customers that are managing devices using Windows Update for Business. And so by reporting on those devices that are managed through WolfB, we hope to tie the bridge between controls, which you deploy through Intune or PowerShell, the graph, and reporting. So you have one single pane of glass for all reporting needs. And again, update compliance is a free product. You don't have to use WolfB. It's for devices managed through whatever source. But we did want to add support for Windows Update for Business as well. And lastly, I know I'm taking a lot of time on this, but we made a new UX revamp. So the old product was very bare bones. It was not customizable. If you needed new charts, new charts, new graphs, new colors, whatever, you could not do that. In this new version of update compliance, it's very agile, very modular, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like now. Next slide. Yeah, so like I said, we announced public preview about a month ago. And so we basically went from an Azure Marketplace solution to a first-party experience integrated in Azure Monitor. And so in Azure Monitor, we'll be able to leverage this new UX. It's called Azure Workbooks. I'm not sure how many have heard about it, but a lot of teams are moving towards the Workbooks UX. And we think that it'll offer a better overall reporting experience. And so with workbooks, you can actually build experiences with extreme agility. You can make a cool chart, you can query data to build custom reports. And the really cool benefit is that you can actually open up each table or chart or whatever you have in a logs view. And so you can edit the query because it's all based on Kusto's query language, and you can actually make your own custom reports and dashboards, integrate Power BI and whatnot. And so huge value prop moving towards workbooks. And to complement the new UX, we updated our data schema. So everything in the front end is built on our data schema, which update compliance kind of offers, right? And so we took that data schema, we added more data points, we added more detailed update statuses for your devices to help you troubleshoot your issues. And like I said, it's all based on Kusto's query language. So you can power your additional dashboards to integrate with external data analysis tools and automate alerts, and you can go wild on, writing your own custom queries. And so highly recommend that everyone, apart from the UX itself, go play around with the queries, go learn Kusto's, use it like a REST API for your in-house or third-party tools to build on top of the data we're already providing. So getting started, I did want to focus majority of this presentation on kind of the experience and how you can get started right away. We announced public preview, so a lot of customers are already transitioning on it, and it's a very simple process. To get started, you'll have to onboard through the Microsoft Admin Center, which is an admin portal for all the teams and roles managing M365 apps. The reason we chose to kind of have this onboard to the admin center is because we're still working on enrollment through the actual UX itself. And this offers a more modern way of getting Azure tenant-based enrollment until we bring that whole sign-up experience within the product itself very soon. And so you're going to go to the Microsoft Admin Center, and you'll need the prerequisites, the permissions. You can read more about it in our blog, just the AD roles, basically. And you want to ensure that you have, your login with workspace and subscription already made, obviously. Once you're in the Windows tab of the Admin Center, you can click Configure Settings. Here, you're basically just going to provide us with your subscription and workspace that you already created. And if you're already using Update Compliance right now, if you're using the old UCB one, that's totally fine. You can use the same one. We'll just route data to your current subscription workspace. So no hassle. We support one tenant to one workspace mapping right now. So pretty simple. You select your workspace, log in subscription, click Save Settings, and boom, 24 hours later, you'll be able to see data that's populated from Update Compliance. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the actual Admin Center experience. This is high level information to see how your overall patch compliance is doing. So you'll see kind of how many devices are up to date, how many are missing security updates, how many are on unsupported OS, and some devices which are reaching end of servicing, which means that Microsoft will not kind of support them going forward. This is more just higher level information. Just we want to bring more discoverability to the product. We want to actually, for those IT admins that just want a quick summary and just want to tell their CIO like, hey, we're doing good, mostly with blue, not red, so we should be good. But reporting, we want granular reporting. And so we added a button here called Go to Update Compliance. And just note, this is not the only way to get to the product. This is just through the Microsoft Admin Center once you initially configured. But once you've already configured, you can actually just go back to the Azure portal, and under Monitor, you'll see Workbooks, and you can access it there as well. And so there's 2 entry points to kind of get here. Yeah, so once you click Go to Update Compliance, or you just come in through the Azure portal and Monitor, this is where our kind of UX is right now, Update Compliance. You'll land on this main page. We call this the hub. And as I go through these reports, I just want to keep in mind that, we've tried our best to provide templates that serve as building blocks for more reports that you may want to build. But we talked to a lot of customers, and we put, front and center the main key charts and data points that we think would be enough to help you manage your patch compliance. And so if there's anything missing or would be helpful to have, please just comment or let me know. We'll take that feedback and we'll improve the reporting. We keep improving every few weeks, add more stuff based on feedback, because we want to keep improving the product. And so in the main overview page, you're going to see just some basic informational stuff and latest blogs and important announcements. And it's our way of kind of, keeping the customers engaged, in a engagement loop, so you can communicate with us, and you can also like provide feedback up here, but just main level information. And then we have these main KPI cards, which give you a high level summary of information across all your content types. And so first we have total enrolled devices. So, the total number of AED joined devices you have enrolled into update compliance. And then we have alerts. So as I was talking about it, we showcase alerts that are impacting your devices across all your content types. And so I'm not showing kind of what the view is, but once you open it, you'll be able to see the top level alerts that are stopping your device from updating. And I'll show you kind of what the alert experience looks like later, but we want to put it front and center to say, hey, you have 7,000 devices that are encountering some sort of error that Windows is throwing. You should look into that, because that's 7,000 out of 30,000 devices you have enrolled, so that's a pretty big number. We also have a Windows 11 concept. We are trying to get people onto the new Windows 11. And so we have this concept of Windows 11 eligibility, which opens up a separate report that tells you how many of your Windows 10 devices are ready to go to Windows 11. And if not, then what is the main reason they're not able to go? Is it hardware, CPU, firmware? What's the main issue stopping the adoption? And so that's a cool report that you guys can check out as well. It's live, it's public. People have been using it for a while. And under that, we just have kind of two main KPI cards. These are taken straight from the individual workbooks themselves, the individual experiences. So for quality updates, for example, we want to quickly showcase you like how many are on the latest security updates, how many are not on the latest, and how many are actually behind on 2 or more security updates. So you can kind of look at the colors and see, okay, like again, the more I avoid red and yellow, the better I am. Same thing with feature updates. Like, am I on the latest feature update for Windows 10 and Windows 11, or am I on a supported OS feature update that's in service? So you can get a quick glance of how your ecosystem is doing. And this is just a hub. We call it the overview. It's not the actual individual reports, but this gives you a main glimpse of okay, now I need to know what I need to look into. And that's kind of where we get into the specific individual experiences themselves. And so a lot of you, IT admins are probably focused on, especially in the education industry, like kind of the security updates to make sure that, everything's up to date and patched. And so what you would do is you would click on the quality updates tab on top of the hub. So now you're in the quality updates experience. And again, I'm just using screenshots here, but you can go ahead and play around with the experience. It's, full interactive UX. And again, just want to emphasize how important it is to get the latest security update as soon as it's released to ensure you stay protected and secure. And so again, front and center, we wanted to put some KPI cards, which provide a high level overview. And so we have, again, the device count. So these are how many devices are actually taking your security updates in the past 28 days. We also have the latest compliance status, which tells you how many devices are compliant, meaning on the latest security update that came out by Microsoft. We also have devices that are missing multiple security updates, which means that they're behind on 2 or more of the updates, which means you should, try to get them updated as fast. And again, we have alerts. So these are active alerts for just your quality updates. And obviously, this is something that, you'd want to focus on because this is the underlying reason of why your devices aren't really going up to date. And we kind of break these alerts down for you into errors and warnings, as you can see here. Error alerts are basically alerts that are thrown by the Windows client in terms of, error codes that you usually get. And I'll show you kind of in the next slide what that looks like, but you kind of want to focus on these error codes, and we also provide recommendations on how you can solve those error codes. And so if you're seeing a lot of alerts here, that should be a red sign saying, okay, you know what, go look at this right now. And so again, we want to emphasize the importance of alerts here. We added a pie chart here as well for an update state. So basically how that works is, a device goes through this huge funnel when it gets an update. It gets offered, it starts downloading, then it needs installation, then it gets stuck somewhere, then it needs to be restarted. And so we took a stab at kind of providing you with a funnel to show you kind of where your devices are right now. By looking at this, you can kind of see like, okay, majority of my devices are already installed, so I'm good. But some of them are still being offered, or some of them got canceled for some reason, or some of them are stuck in reboot pending. And so we have a list of all these states, which you'll see in the pie chart here. It's kind of cut off right now. But it just gives you a glimpse of like, hey, where are my devices at? And it kind of helps you figure out kind of what you need to look into. Yeah, so we just have two main pie charts here. Oh, let me go back actually. Now the main table you want to look at is the security updates table right now. So this main table shows you all the security updates that are being taken right now for your devices, whether you manage through group policies or Wolf PDS or whatnot. You can kind of see, you know, for all my devices taking this Windows 10 21H1 target security update build, how many are fully installed? Okay, 70% are fully installed. What happened with the 30%? And so you can actually click into total devices. You can actually see, okay, these are all the 7,000 devices that are installing the security update. You'll be able to see the KB that is taking related to that security update. You'll be able to click on the alert number, which will show you kind of the alerts for the 30% that are not updating. And so we have it kind of row by row for each target build because, you know, yes, you want to get on the latest security update, but you are deploying multiple security updates we've seen, right? And so you want to get an in-depth breakdown of each security update that's being taken and each error that's along with each security update. And so we decided to break it down like this, just so you can have a distinguished kind of view for each specific row. Same flow, everything I showed you here applies to feature updates. Same KPI card, same kind of constant of alerts, same table. It's not here, but same table. But again, for feature updates, we did want to focus on end of service because a lot of devices we're noticing are reaching end of supported, reaching an unsupported OS. And so we did want to kind of focus on a KPI card to tell you like, hey, you have 14,000 devices that are not on the latest feature update or on a feature update that's reaching end of support in 6 months. So might want to get on that. And we also have a concept of safeguard holds. Basically, safeguards, Microsoft determines a device is not ready to update due to a known issue. We call this safeguard holds. And it's basically generated to protect the end user experience. And so we tell you how many devices are experiencing a safe hold guard. And so you can see all the device breakdown and stuff here in the safeguard experience as well. We have a Windows 11 readiness status like I showed you. This is just a glimpse, but how many are capable to go to Windows 11? How many are not capable? Once you click on this, you'll be able to see all the reasons of why your feature update is not, your Windows 10 feature update is not ready to go to Windows 11. And just some pie charts to show you, you know, how many of your devices are break down into which kind of OS, how many are Windows 10 21H1, 21H2, 1909. So we just kind of show a breakdown just so you have an idea of, you know, where your devices are basically. Yeah, again, these are just snippets, but you can go play around with the UX. I just wanted to emphasize the main points that you should be looking into when kind of going through these reports. The main KPI cards, kind of the main charts, and now the interesting stuff. Alerts. So I talked about alerts a lot, and basically from both the views I showed you, you can actually click the alerts that are impacting that target build or those devices that are not updating. For both quality updates and feature updates. And this is what that view looks like. So once you kind of click, you know, alerts from the view I showed you, the point is that we want you to take these alerts and recommendations and use them as a first level triage. And we're going to continue improving these alerts over time, obviously, but we basically have, you know, all the alerts that are being thrown by the device or by the updates, and we're throwing a basic error code and a description and recommendation. Obviously, you know, 100% I can't say this recommendation will fix everything and, you know, we're in la la land, but we can use it as a first level triage. So for example, if we notice that you have X amount of devices that are stuck in this download issue, we detected that something went wrong with the download when it was starting to download the update. And so there's some recommendations that we have that you can, you know, run a PowerShell script from, or deploy something remotely to kind of, you know, do these checks that may help your devices from moving from sediments. And so you can kind of dive deep into each alert that's thrown. You might be noticing sometimes that, you know, you have multiple alerts with the same name. These are actually different alerts that we're throwing because we want it to be very, very granular. And each alert has some sort of error code that Windows throws. And so for each error code combination, we have a different description and different recommendations because we want you to try these recommendations out to go and try to resolve these alerts. And a concept we have that I'm not showing here, but I wrote here is this concept of update alert and device alerts. Right now, I'm just showing you update alerts, but we have a concept of device alerts, and device alerts are just more alerts that are specific to a device and not a specific update. So for example, even in the education industry, we've noticed that a lot of devices are just like not active enough. People go on vacation. It just hasn't scanned a Windows update in a long time. You have multiple laptops when it's been closed for a while. And so if you have a lot of devices that are low active in a way, we actually throw an alert out called low activity. And so that tells you like, hey, out of your 33,000 devices, 4,000 are just not active enough. They're not even scanning Woo. And so you can use that and leverage that and minus that from your total population. So you don't get false patch compliance numbers, right? Because they're not really, scanning Woo, for example, they're not updating. So you can disregard them in a way. That's how you want to think about it when you're showing your security reports. And so for example, another alert we're throwing out, I have a bunch of alerts, but another alert we're throwing out is, if that device you're on is about to reach end of servicing, like I showed here, 6 months end of servicing, we throw an alert out saying, this is on an old OS 1809, for example. It's end of service, it's not being supported. You should go on the new OS. And so we throw an alert out and you can see devices in each of those alerts. Another device alert is registration issue. So if your device is not properly AD registered, then we're going to throw that out. We're going to throw the alert out. And so again, if a device hasn't scanned Windows Update, we'll throw an alert out for that. And so the more alerts we throw out, the more we want to kind of call to action to say these devices are experiencing this. Please go look into them. And now you might be asking, okay, you gave me a bunch of alerts, but now what do I do about them? How do I see which devices are being impacted? And so in the previous view I showed you here, where you can actually click the alerts, you can also click the devices that are impacted by the alerts. So for each alert, you'll be able to click kind of which devices are impacted by which alert. It's kind of hidden in this flyout, but that view will bring you to this device level view now. And again, this is just a snippet, but say you clicked on an alert, right? And now you want to do something about that. As an IT admin, you may want to deploy remote scripts to warn users to reboot their device or even remotely reboot their device. And so we have a device level view where you can kind of leverage AD grouping. So obviously the device names are hidden here just because this is our, tenant workspace that we have, but you'll be able to see their device names, the Azure device IDs and whatnot. And you'll be able to see and maybe run a PowerShell script or group them or export to Excel or Power BI, whatever grouping mechanism that you'd want to use. Because Log Analytics has a lot of export capabilities. And so you can target those devices that are in that specific alert. And for each device, you'll be able to see kind of the main configuration that the device has. And I'll tell you why this is important. Like I said, it might be a problem with the update, but you want to see if the client policies on your devices are actually set to the most optimized policies. And this can help, your update velocity. For example, we've noticed a lot of customers and devices have higher deferral days. And obviously you have your reasons for having those deferral days, but as the update team, we can tell you to, the more higher deferral date is, the longer it'll take you to get your update, meaning more vulnerable you are to, security issues. And so we are taking an attempt at showing you what the policies are on your device. Just device information. We tell you kind of which state it's in, like I showed you before, if it's installing or it's basically in the installing phase, but the download started. We tell you kind of what the status for the device is. Right now, it's missing security updates, tells you it's not the latest one. Just basic information. We tell you when the last time it actually scanned Windows Update was. And again, this is very useful. So you can actually see that, okay, it's scanned on this date, which means that it is pretty active. But say that date goes really far back, right? Then you can kind of conclude that it's not really, an active device, so we can kind of disregard it. And for this device, you'll most likely see a low activity alert if it hasn't been active in 28 days again. And so you can kind of use these fields that we're throwing, which is straight from our data schema, by the way, to kind of correlate and see kind of what's going on the device. And so, yeah, again, target specific AD devices that have alerts and kind of see which are optimally configured based on your client policies. Something that's coming soon, the next probably couple weeks, is DO. We call this delivery optimization. And in talking to customers, especially those in the education industry, we discover that many organizations don't have a big network pipe or Wi-Fi routers that are congested and do not keep up with the peer-to-peer traffic. And so administrators are also concerned about shared bandwidth for critical devices where performance is crucial. And so you can use this delivery optimization report to kind of view your peer-to-peer bandwidth and kind of save on that. You'll be able to see your breakdown of content type, total count for devices that have successfully participated in the peer-to-peer content distribution, amount of data that was pulled from peers, and you can drill into each view and figure out a summary of all your downloads per content type for particular devices. And so this is a great kind of way of leveraging DO and understanding why devices aren't performing well. Is it an ISP? Is it a network? Is it a bandwidth usage issue? And so you can use this to kind of reduce your bandwidth usage across all your content types. So feature updates, quality update, driver updates, or other server updates or whatnot. And so we are still working on this. We are still building on this, but more information coming on this. We improved this from the current report we have right now. And so this will be more in depth and more interactive with the workbooks UX as well.
Hey, Akash, I actually like how you guys are breaking down the Microsoft Connected Cache.
Yes,
And the peer-to-peer.
That is a huge feedback we heard from customers. Yeah, more breakdown for sure.
Yeah, no, because most that are on this call probably aren't using SCCM with Connected Cache, but what everyone has wanted is, hey, we basically need an Intune distribution point, and that's effectively what Microsoft Connected Cache is going to be when we get that standalone service out. And so being able to track this with Update Compliance v2 will actually show you that, hey, that server that I stood up with Microsoft Connected Cache, it's actually working. We're actually getting our content directly from there. We're not just, all of our clients just aren't going out to the internet and getting content. So it's cool to see that.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of Intune customers have asked for that, which is why we put it here. Because again, you see Intune, there's supposed to be supplementary services, and so all the controls you do in Intune, you'll be able to see kind of your servers and devices here in Update Compliance. And so huge value prop for us.
Yep, very good.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. I went through that pretty quick. Yeah, if any questions, I'm free to answer them, but we kind of want everyone to start getting, using this V2. And so onboard to the Microsoft Admin Center, play around with the reports, see if you're liking them, see if the interactivity is there, see if you find them useful, see if the alerts are useful. Check if your numbers are going down. Are you on the latest security updates? Play around with it, give us feedback, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. If you have any feedback, you can actually fill out in the smiley face right there. Any support requests or feedback, or just email me. Since it's been a month since public preview, so we want to actually get the feedback before we go GA. And so please feel free to provide more feedback.
Now, Akash, you had mentioned that we're looking at deprecating V1. Did you say by end of this year, maybe?
No set date right now. I'm gonna decide how the product is going, stability, migration. Okay. But the plan is, once we go GA, we'll give obviously a couple months to customers. So not end of the year, probably sometime next year. Okay. 3-4 months after we go GA, most likely. But we are trying to transition people to start using V2. So yeah.
Okay. And are there plans to have better integration within the Microsoft Endpoint Manager portal? Because right now, I think one of the challenges that most customers have with Update Compliance is it's discoverability, right? It's it's not readily apparent in Intune, like, hey, I got to go turn this thing on. Like if they talk to us and we have these presentations for customers, then they say, oh man, there's something here that I just had no idea about. Like, what are your thoughts about making it more discoverable within MEM, so that we can get, because instead of putting it like in admin.microsoft.com, which it needs to be there, I think, for small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah.
But for enterprises, they don't really hang out in admin.microsoft.com. They'll go there to like deploy licenses and things like that. But by and large, if you're the mem admin, you're in the mem console all the time. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so discoverability is huge for us. Obviously, we want to get more adoption, and part of that was going through the Microsoft Admin Center, just to put their product in there, just so low-level SMBs can get started on that as well. But we work closely with the MEM team because we are using the same common data platform, right? It's the same schema, the same common data schema that we're using that populates intern report and UC reports. And so the way I think about it is that MEM and UC should be used supplementary. Intune, you have your controls or you manage stuff, but reporting in MEM might not be as granular as that for update compliance. And so we're trying to tackle that by kind of having parity with the reports and kind of something that's, we're working with the MEM team is guiding customers from MEM into update compliance. So more messaging in the portal itself. For example, when you create your deployments in MEM, you want to have that same deployment name, policy name in update compliance. And so we're trying to figure out how we can link those policies here in update compliance. So you can open up that view here as well. And so that's definitely a work in progress, and that's something that we're aware of.
Okay, cool. All right, anything else? All right, guys, well, we're right at the top of the hour here. So thanks a lot, Akash, for coming on. It's a great presentation. Lots of good detailed info that we didn't have before.
Hard to cover in 30 minutes.
I know, you could probably talk about it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thanks a lot, and everyone, thanks for joining. We'll see you again in a couple weeks, and everyone stay safe and take care.
Thank you.